Welcome to Deep Science Sleep. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in the most comfortable place you've ever been. Perhaps it's a sunlit meadow where the grass whispers in the breeze, or maybe it's your own bed on a cool evening, with the weight of soft blankets settling around you. Let your breathing slow and deepen. Feel the tension draining from your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. Tonight, we're going on a gentle journey into the minds of animals, exploring the quiet intelligence that fills our world. These aren't stories of competition or struggle. Instead, we'll discover the peaceful, thoughtful, surprisingly tender ways that creatures great and small experience their lives. Let each fact wash over you like a wave, carrying away the concerns of your day. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Just rest here, and let's begin our exploration of the beautiful, contemplative world of animal minds. The foundations of animal intelligence, a universe of thought. The question of what goes on inside an animal's mind has fascinated humans for thousands of years. Aristotle, writing in the 3rd century before the Common Era, described the elephant as the animal that surpasses all others in wit and mind. He recognized something we're only now beginning to understand with scientific precision. Intelligence isn't the sole province of humanity. It blooms across the tree of life in unexpected places, taking forms we're only beginning to comprehend. When we think about intelligence, we often imagine it as a single, measurable quality, something that can be ranked on a scale from simple to complex. But recent research reveals a more nuanced picture. Intelligence is not one thing, but many things. It's the ability to solve problems, yes, but also to remember, to learn, to adapt, to feel, to communicate, and to imagine. Each species has evolved its own particular form of intelligence, shaped by millions of years of adaptation to specific environments and challenges. Consider the structure of an animal's brain itself. For decades, scientists believed that complex thought required a mammalian neocortex, the layered outer portion of the brain that humans possess. Birds, with their smooth-surfaced brains, were dismissed as simple creatures driven purely by instinct. The phrase "bird brain" became an insult, suggesting limited mental capacity. But this assumption crumbled when researchers looked more closely at avian brains. Though structurally different from mammalian brains, bird brains achieve similar computational power through a different organization. Corvids and parrots pack neurons into their forebrains with remarkable density, creating what amounts to a different solution to the same problem. Evolution, it turns out, can arrive at intelligence through multiple pathways. The study of animal cognition requires us to step outside our human-centered perspective. Humans are visual creatures who live in a world mediated by language. We navigate using landmarks we can see and share information through words. But a bat experiences the world through sound, painting pictures with echoes. A dog lives in a universe of scent, where yesterday's visitor left an aromatic signature that tells a complete story. An octopus, with neurons distributed throughout its 8 arms, may experience consciousness in a fundamentally distributed way that we can barely imagine. To understand animal intelligence, we must try to see the world through sensory systems vastly different from our own. The neural foundations of thought vary dramatically across species. A honeybee's brain contains fewer than 1 million neurons, while an elephant's brain holds approximately 257 billion neurons, 3 times as many as a human brain. Yet both creatures demonstrate remarkable cognitive abilities appropriate to their ecological niches. The bee navigates vast territories, communicates abstract information through dance, and makes complex decisions about resource allocation. The elephant remembers migration routes across decades, recognizes hundreds of individuals, and mourns its dead. Size isn't everything. Organization matters. Specialized circuits evolved for specific tasks can outperform general-purpose thinking in their domains. Recent advances in neuroscience have revealed surprising commonalities across diverse nervous systems. Whether you examine a mammal, a bird, or even an octopus, certain principles of neural computation appear again and again. Neurons that fire together wire together, strengthening connections that encode learned associations. Networks of neurons synchronize their activity to bind different features of experience into coherent perceptions. Neuromodulators like dopamine signal reward and drive learning across species separated by hundreds of millions of years of evolution. These shared mechanisms suggest that the fundamental tools of intelligence emerged early in evolutionary history and have been elaborated in countless ways. The question of consciousness adds another layer of mystery to our understanding of animal minds. Consciousness, the subjective experience of being, is notoriously difficult to define even in humans, let alone in creatures who cannot report their inner experiences. Yet certain behaviors suggest sophisticated awareness. Self-recognition in mirrors, demonstrated by great apes, elephants, dolphins, and magpies, implies a sense of self as distinct from others. Episodic memory, the ability to remember specific past events, has been documented in scrub jays and rats, suggesting mental time travel into personal history. These capacities hint at inner lives rich with feeling and awareness. The evolution of intelligence appears tied to certain ecological pressures. Many of the most cognitively sophisticated animals face complex social environments. Primates navigate intricate hierarchies where success requires tracking relationships, predicting behavior, and sometimes engaging in deception. Elephants maintain multi-generational family structures where accumulated knowledge passed from elders proves crucial for survival. Corvids form pair bonds and remember individuals they've interacted with, tailoring their behavior based on past experiences with specific others. Social complexity, it seems, rewards and perhaps requires enhanced cognition. But social life isn't the only driver of intelligence. Many highly cognitive species must solve difficult physical problems. Octopuses, largely solitary creatures, have evolved remarkable intelligence to cope with predators and challenging prey in the complex three-dimensional environment of coral reefs. New Caledonian crows manufacture sophisticated tools despite living in relatively simple social groups. Parrots, though social, also navigate complex rainforest environments requiring fine-scale spatial memory and problem-solving. Multiple evolutionary routes can lead to enhanced cognition, each shaped by the particular demands an animal faces. The study of animal cognition reveals not a ladder of intelligence with humans at the top, but rather a diverse landscape of different intellectual adaptations. Humans excel at abstract reasoning and language. Dolphins navigate by echolocation with precision we can barely fathom. Migrating birds orient using magnetic fields our senses cannot detect. Each species is intelligent in the ways that matter for its survival, and comparing them requires acknowledging that intelligence takes many forms. Modern research into animal cognition combines careful behavioral observation with sophisticated neuroscience. Researchers train animals to use touchscreens, solving puzzles that reveal their understanding of concepts like number, causation, and perspective-taking. Brain imaging allows scientists to watch neural activity as animals think, revealing the circuits involved in memory, decision-making, and planning. Genetic techniques let us compare the molecular building blocks of nervous systems across species, tracing the deep evolutionary roots of cognition. Each approach provides another piece of the puzzle of how minds work. The more we learn about animal intelligence, the more we recognize both the differences and similarities between human and animal minds. Yes, humans have unique capabilities, particularly our capacity for complex language and cumulative culture. But the foundations of thought, perception, memory, learning, emotion, social understanding appear in various forms across the animal kingdom. We are not separate from nature but part of it, our minds built from the same evolutionary toolkit that has produced such diverse forms of intelligence in countless other species. Understanding animal minds ultimately helps us understand our own. The emotional lives of mammals, feeling and remembering. Among the most moving discoveries in animal cognition research are the findings about emotional lives. Far from being mere automatons driven by instinct, many mammals experience rich emotional worlds that include joy, grief, fear, anger, and what can only be described as love. The evidence for these emotional experiences comes not from anthropomorphic projection but from careful observation of behavior, measurement of physiological states, and understanding of the neural circuits that generate emotions. Elephants stand as perhaps the most profound example of animal emotional intelligence. These giants, with their 11-pound brains containing 257 billion neurons, demonstrate capacities for feeling that rival or perhaps exceed our own. Their brains contain a large, highly developed hippocampus, a structure crucial for processing emotion and memory. The temporal lobe, associated with memory and emotional regulation, occupies a substantial portion of the elephant brain. This neural architecture supports an emotional and social life of remarkable depth. The elephant's relationship with death provides some of the most compelling evidence of their emotional sophistication. When an elephant dies, family members will often remain with the body for hours or even days. They touch the bones gently with their trunks, turning them over, seemingly examining them. The temporal glands on the sides of their heads may stream with fluid, a sign of emotional arousal. Even elephants unrelated to the deceased will pause at bones they encounter, spending time in what appears to be contemplation. Years after a death, elephants have been observed returning to the site where a family member died, standing in silence for extended periods. One particularly poignant observation involves a matriarch named Eleanor, studied in Kenya's Samburu Reserve. When Eleanor collapsed from illness, another matriarch named Grace immediately approached, her temporal glands streaming. Grace lifted Eleanor back to her feet using her trunk and tusks. But Eleanor collapsed again. Grace stayed with her as night fell, and Eleanor died during the darkness. Over the following days, Eleanor's body was visited by her own family, another family group, and her closest friend Maya, who spent an hour and a half with the remains. A week later, Eleanor's family returned for another half-hour visit. The behavior suggests something far more complex than instinctive response. It looks remarkably like mourning. The emotional bonds between elephant mothers and calves begin immediately at birth and continue for years. When a calf is born, the entire family celebrates with trumpeting calls, rumbling vocalizations, and temporal gland secretions. They help the newborn to its feet and protect it continuously during its vulnerable early months. Calves stay within 5 meters of another elephant about 90% of the time during their first years, learning from their mothers and aunts the complex skills they'll need for survival. If a calf dies before reaching 2 years of age without its mother, it almost certainly will not survive, and the emotional impact on the mother can be profound. Observers have documented mother elephants who appear despondent after losing a calf, dragging behind the herd for days, their usual vigor dimmed by what can only be called grief. But elephants don't only feel sorrow. Their capacity for joy is equally apparent. Elephant reunions, when family members separated for a time come back together, are events of extraordinary exuberance. The elephants begin calling to each other from a quarter-mile away. As they get closer, they quicken their pace. Their excitement becomes visible in the streaming of their temporal glands, the flapping of their ears, the raising of their tails. Finally, they run toward each other, trumpeting and rumbling, creating what observers describe as a joyful, noisy mass of entwined trunks, clicked tusks, and rubbing bodies. They lean against each other, spin in circles, and sometimes even defecate and urinate, signs of peak emotional arousal. The scene resembles nothing so much as beloved relatives reuniting at an airport, translated into elephant form. Memory and emotion interweave in elephant consciousness. Elephants can remember the calls of family members who left the herd 12 years earlier. They can recall the locations of water sources across vast territories, information stored across decades. Asian elephants have demonstrated memory for specific tasks lasting at least 8 years. This long-term memory serves crucial survival functions, knowing where to find water during drought, remembering migration routes, recognizing which humans are dangerous and which are friendly. But it also means that traumatic experiences can haunt elephants for years. Young elephants orphaned after witnessing their families killed by poachers exhibit symptoms remarkably similar to post-traumatic stress disorder in humans. They wake screaming and trumpeting in the night, appearing to relive the trauma in nightmares. Their behavior during the day shows hypervigilance and difficulty relaxing. Researchers working with elephant sanctuaries report that these orphaned elephants often take years to recover emotionally, if they ever fully do. The capacity to remember so vividly is a double-edged sword. It enables rich social lives but also allows suffering to persist across time. Dolphin intelligence and emotional sophistication rank alongside that of elephants and great apes. These marine mammals possess brains with complex folding patterns and large numbers of neurons, particularly in areas associated with social cognition and self-awareness. Dolphins have passed the mirror self-recognition test, demonstrating that they understand the reflection they see is themselves, not another animal. This capacity for self-awareness suggests an inner mental life with a sense of self as distinct from others. Dolphin societies are characterized by complex relationships that persist over decades. Individuals form alliances with specific others, coordinating their behavior to achieve goals like herding fish or defending against predators. Mother-calf bonds last for years, with young dolphins learning the sophisticated echolocation and hunting techniques they'll need for survival. Dolphins appear to grieve when companions die, sometimes supporting a dead calf at the surface for days, as if unable to accept the loss. The communication systems of dolphins hint at cognitive sophistication. Each dolphin develops a unique whistle, essentially a name which others use to call them. When a dolphin hears its signature whistle, it will often respond, suggesting recognition that the call refers specifically to them. Dolphins also copy each other's whistles, possibly to address specific individuals, much as we use names in conversation. The complexity of these vocalizations, combined with the size and structure of dolphin brains, has led some researchers to speculate about the presence of dolphin language, though definitive evidence remains elusive. Among primates, our closest relatives display emotional lives that sometimes seem hauntingly familiar. Chimpanzees form deep attachments, mourn their dead, and show signs of depression when companions die. Researchers documented a chimpanzee mother carrying her deceased infant for weeks, unwilling to let go. The grief displayed by chimpanzees looks similar enough to human mourning that observers sometimes struggle to maintain scientific objectivity. Bonobos, equally close relatives, demonstrate empathy and consolation, comforting distressed companions with gentle touches and embraces. Recent research has revealed distinct attachment styles between wild chimpanzee mothers and offspring, similar to attachment patterns documented in human children. Some mother-infant pairs show secure attachment, with infants confident to explore while maintaining contact with responsive mothers. Others display anxious or avoidant patterns, depending on maternal behavior. These differences affect the offspring's development and later social behavior, showing that early emotional experiences shape primate lives across species. Even less closely related mammals show emotional sophistication. Wolves form strong pair bonds, often mating for life and cooperating intensely in raising pups. Pack members who are separated show signs of distress, and reunions trigger joyful displays. Rats, despite their small size and reputation, demonstrate empathy. In experiments where a rat could free a trapped companion, many rats worked persistently to open the restraint, even when they received no reward for doing so. If food was also available, rats would often share it with the freed companion rather than eating it all themselves. This helping behavior suggests they are affected by the distress of others and motivated to relieve it. The emotional capacity of mammals appears rooted in shared neural circuitry. The limbic system, a set of brain structures including the amygdala and hippocampus, processes emotion across mammalian species. Neurotransmitters like oxytocin, which promotes bonding and trust in humans, play similar roles in other mammals. When prairie voles form pair bonds, oxytocin surges in their brains, just as it does in human brains during attachment. The chemistry of emotion appears conserved across evolutionary time, suggesting that feelings like affection, fear, and joy have deep biological roots. Understanding the emotional lives of mammals carries ethical implications. If animals feel pain, fear, joy, and grief in ways similar to humans, then our treatment of them becomes a moral issue that cannot be easily dismissed. The calf separated from its mother in a dairy operation, the elephant in captivity far from family, the chimpanzee in a barren cage, each may suffer emotionally in ways comparable to human suffering. Recognition of animal emotion doesn't necessarily dictate what actions we should take, but it does require that we consider their welfare seriously rather than dismissing them as unfeeling creatures. The emotions of mammals enrich their lives but also serve practical functions. Fear motivates escape from danger. Anger drives defense of resources. Affection maintains social bonds crucial for cooperation. Grief, painful though it is, may reflect the depth of attachment that makes complex social life possible. Emotions evolved not as luxuries but as solutions to adaptive problems. Yet their subjective experience gives animal lives texture and meaning beyond mere survival. In recognizing the emotional lives of other mammals, we acknowledge that we share this planet not with simple machines but with feeling beings whose inner lives, while perhaps different from ours in detail, are rich with experience. The surprising brilliance of birds, feathered minds. For generations, bird brain served as an insult, suggesting someone of limited intelligence. The phrase seemed justified by the small size and smooth appearance of bird brains, so different from the large, wrinkled mammalian cortex that scientists associated with complex thought. But this dismissal of avian intelligence has collapsed under the weight of evidence. Birds, particularly corvids and parrots, demonstrate cognitive abilities that rival or exceed those of many mammals, including great apes on some tasks. Their achievement reveals that evolution has produced sophisticated intelligence through remarkably different neural architectures. The key to avian intelligence lies in neuronal density rather than brain size alone. While mammalian brains achieve computational power through layered cortical structures with relatively dispersed neurons, bird brains pack neurons tightly, especially in the pallium, the region equivalent to the mammalian cortex. A parrot's or corvid's forebrain contains neuron densities comparable to primates, despite the much smaller overall size. This efficient organization allows a crow with a brain weighing 15 grams to demonstrate intelligence comparable to a chimpanzee with a brain of 400 grams. Nature has found multiple solutions to the engineering challenge of building an intelligent brain. Corvids, the family including crows, ravens, magpies, and jays, have become favorite subjects for cognitive research because of their remarkable problem-solving abilities. New Caledonian crows, found only on a small Pacific island, manufacture and use tools with sophistication previously thought unique to humans and great apes. In the wild, they fashion hooks from twigs, stripping leaves and bending the wood to create implements for extracting insects from tree bark. They craft different types of tools for different tasks, selecting materials carefully and modifying their designs based on the problem at hand. In laboratory settings, New Caledonian crows have stunned researchers with their innovative problem-solving. One crow named Betty became famous for spontaneously bending a straight wire into a hook to retrieve a food bucket from a tube, despite having never been trained in wire bending. She had never seen a hook tool before, but apparently understood that a hook would solve her problem better than a straight wire. She successfully created hooks in 9 out of 10 trials, showing that her innovation was not a lucky accident but a genuine solution she could repeat. This creative tool manufacture, solving a novel problem through insight rather than trial and error, suggested cognitive abilities previously attributed only to humans. Later research showed that New Caledonian crow tool use is even more sophisticated than first realized. These birds can use tools in sequence, employing one tool to obtain another tool that then retrieves the food reward. They understand the properties of different materials and select appropriate tools for specific tasks. Young crows learn tool-making from their parents, with slight regional variations in tool design suggesting cultural transmission of information across generations. Tool use is not merely an instinctive behavior but a learned skill that improves with practice and social learning. Corvids also demonstrate understanding of abstract concepts. In tests of self-control, ravens can delay gratification, refusing an immediate small reward in favor of a later, larger one. This ability to inhibit impulsive behavior and plan for the future requires understanding that future states differ from present ones and that actions now affect outcomes later. Scrub jays show episodic-like memory, remembering not just where they cached food but what they cached and when, allowing them to prioritize retrieving perishable items before they spoil. This what, where, when memory suggests mental time travel into the past, a capacity once thought unique to humans. Perhaps most remarkably, corvids appear to understand what others know, a capacity called theory of mind. Western scrub jays that have previously stolen food from caches made by others will recache their own food if they were watched while hiding it, but they won't bother recaching if they were alone. They seem to understand that another bird that saw them cache food knows the location, while a bird that didn't watch lacks that knowledge. This perspective-taking ability, understanding that others have mental states different from one's own, was long considered a hallmark of human cognition. Ravens demonstrate social intelligence that extends to cooperation and even possible deception. They form pair bonds that can last for years, and mated pairs work together to solve problems and defend territories. In experimental settings, ravens coordinate their behavior to manipulate objects too heavy for one bird alone, showing the ability to work together toward shared goals. Some observations suggest that ravens may even engage in tactical deception, though documenting this is challenging in species that cannot explain their intentions. Magpies, another corvid, have passed the mirror self-recognition test, a feat achieved by very few species. When a colored mark was placed on their throat, an area they could not see directly, magpies looked in the mirror and then tried to remove the mark, demonstrating they understood the mirror image was themselves. This self-awareness suggests a concept of self as distinct from the environment and from other individuals, a cognitive achievement previously attributed mainly to great apes, elephants, and dolphins. Parrots, though less studied than corvids until recently, demonstrate comparable cognitive sophistication. The African gray parrot named Alex, trained by researcher Irene Pepperberg for over 3 decades, could identify 50 objects, 7 colors, and 5 shapes. He could count up to 6 and understood concepts like same, different, bigger, and smaller. When asked how many blue wooden blocks were present among a collection of different colored and shaped objects, Alex could correctly identify the number, demonstrating he could combine multiple concepts: color, material, shape, and quantity in a single answer. More impressively, Alex appeared to understand the meaning of his words rather than merely producing sounds to get rewards. When shown an object he couldn't name, he would often request the correct object be brought to him, or he would describe it using words he knew, calling an apple a banary, combining banana and cherry, perhaps based on its qualities. He asked questions, including asking what color he was upon first seeing himself in a mirror. This use of language to communicate genuine information rather than merely to obtain rewards suggested a level of understanding rare in animal communication studies. Beyond language abilities, parrots demonstrate sophisticated physical cognition. Goffin's cockatoos, a species that doesn't use tools in the wild, can learn to manufacture and use tools to solve problems in captivity. In experiments, they figured out how to unbolt complex locks with sequences of manipulations, often solving the puzzles faster than primates. They recognize when a tool will be needed and carry it with them, showing planning ability. Once a cockatoo solves a problem, it rarely fails to solve it again, indicating strong memory and understanding of the solution. Parrot social intelligence also proves remarkable. In recent experiments, parrots given the opportunity to video call other parrots, essentially using tablets to communicate with distant birds, learn to initiate calls by ringing a virtual bell and then selecting which parrot they wanted to call. The parrots who participated showed clear preferences, calling specific friends more often than others. They appeared to understand that another real parrot existed on the screen, not merely a video. Some parrots even learned new foraging techniques and vocalizations from their video call companions, demonstrating social learning across digital media. The capacity to understand video communication and use it for genuine social connection reveals flexibility in how these birds process visual information and conceptualize their social world. Even species not traditionally associated with high intelligence demonstrate surprising cognitive abilities. Pigeons, often dismissed as mere foraging machines, can categorize complex images, distinguishing paintings by Monet from paintings by Picasso and generalizing their categorization to new paintings they've never seen. They can recognize individual human faces and remember them for years. In medical settings, trained pigeons proved capable of identifying cancerous tissue in diagnostic images with accuracy comparable to human technicians, showing that their visual processing and categorization abilities are formidable. Chickens, too, challenge stereotypes about bird intelligence. They use over 20 different vocalizations to communicate, including distinct alarm calls for different predators, one call for aerial threats and another for ground-based dangers. Males will only give alarm calls in the presence of females or when they have chicks, and they won't call if rival males are nearby, suggesting sophisticated social awareness. Chickens understand that objects continue to exist when hidden from view, a concept called object permanence that human infants don't master until several months old. They can do basic arithmetic and demonstrate self-control by waiting for better food rewards. The cognitive abilities of birds extend to navigation, an area where they dramatically outperform mammals. Homing pigeons can find their way home from unfamiliar locations hundreds of miles away, using a combination of magnetic fields, the sun's position, landmarks, and possibly even infrasound and olfactory cues. Migratory birds navigate thousands of miles between breeding and wintering grounds, often returning to the exact same locations year after year. How they accomplish these feats continues to fascinate researchers, but it clearly requires sophisticated spatial memory and integration of multiple sensory inputs. The study of avian cognition has fundamentally changed how we understand the relationship between brain structure and intelligence. Birds teach us that complex cognition doesn't require a mammalian brain. Evolution can produce sophisticated information processing through multiple routes, and intelligence is not a single peak to be climbed, but rather a diverse landscape of adaptive solutions. The crow using tools, the parrot combining concepts in language, the pigeon navigating by magnetic fields, each demonstrates that intelligence takes many forms, and underestimating animal minds based on superficial differences from our own is a profound mistake. In their small, efficient brains, birds carry out cognitive feats that force us to reconsider what minds can do and how they do it. The hidden depths of aquatic intelligence, thinking underwater. Beneath the surface of the world's waters exists a realm of intelligence that challenges our terrestrial assumptions about how minds work. From the distributed cognition of an octopus to the surprising learning abilities of fish, aquatic animals demonstrate that intelligence flourishes in environments vastly different from our own. Understanding these underwater minds requires us to imagine consciousness operating in bodies and nervous systems fundamentally unlike those of land-dwelling vertebrates. The octopus stands as perhaps the most alien intelligence on Earth. With a lineage separated from vertebrates by over 500 million years of evolution, octopuses represent a completely independent solution to the challenge of building a complex nervous system. Their bodies are radically different from ours: no bones, no centralized brain in the way we understand it, and 8 arms that can move independently and simultaneously. Yet these strange creatures demonstrate problem-solving abilities, personality traits, and learning capacities that force us to expand our understanding of what minds can be. An octopus's nervous system is distributed throughout its body in a way unique among intelligent animals. While there is a centralized brain structure in the head containing about 1/3 of the animal's 500 million neurons, the remaining 2/3 are distributed among the 8 arms. Each arm contains a ganglion controlling local reflexes and movements, allowing the arms to act semi-independently. An arm can continue to respond to stimuli and grab food even when severed from the body, suggesting that in some sense, each arm has its own simple mind. Yet the central brain can exert top-down control when needed, creating a hybrid architecture that is neither fully centralized nor fully distributed. This neural organization allows octopuses to perform multiple tasks simultaneously. They can search for food with several arms at once, each exploring a different crevice while the central brain monitors for danger. Each sucker on each arm contains about 10,000 neurons for taste and touch, allowing an octopus to taste what it touches without needing to coordinate through the central brain. This distributed processing may give octopuses a radically different experience of embodiment than creatures with centralized nervous systems. They may not experience their bodies as a single unit controlled from a central command, but rather as a confederation of semi-independent parts working in loose coordination. Despite their alien architecture, octopuses demonstrate clear signs of intelligence. They excel at problem-solving, particularly tasks involving manipulation of objects. In laboratory settings, octopuses can learn to open child-proof containers by pushing, pulling, and twisting in the correct sequence. They can unscrew jar lids from the inside or outside to obtain food. Some have figured out how to open acrylic boxes by manipulating latches, demonstrating understanding of mechanical causation. These problem-solving abilities appear flexible rather than stereotyped. Octopuses can transfer solutions from one container type to another and modify their approach when circumstances change. Octopuses also display distinct personalities, another trait once thought limited to vertebrates. When researchers presented individual octopuses with novel objects, brush stimuli, and food, they found that responses clustered into personality types. Some octopuses were bold, quickly approaching new objects and actively resisting the brush. Others were shy, avoiding novel stimuli and showing higher levels of caution. These personality differences remained consistent over time and across different situations, suggesting they represent stable individual traits rather than random variation in behavior. One particularly memorable octopus named Lucretia McEvil repeatedly broke laboratory equipment and squirted water at handlers she appeared to dislike, while other individuals were much more docile. Tool use, once considered a hallmark of advanced cognition limited to primates and corvids, occurs in octopuses as well. Coconut octopuses collect coconut shell halves, carry them awkwardly while walking on two arms, and then assemble them into a protective shelter. This behavior requires planning, anticipating future need for shelter and carrying the heavy shells some distance despite the awkwardness and vulnerability while doing so. The octopus must also possess a mental representation of how the two halves will fit together to create the shelter, understanding a goal not yet achieved. Perhaps most famously, octopuses are escape artists. Aquariums worldwide have reported octopuses squeezing through incredibly small gaps, removing aquarium lids, and traveling across the floor to raid other tanks before returning to their own enclosures. One octopus named Inky at New Zealand's National Aquarium squeezed through a small gap in his tank's lid, climbed down to the floor, crossed the room, and disappeared down a drain pipe leading to the ocean. The wet trail left behind and the careful selection of the drain pipe, rather than other pipes that didn't lead to the sea, suggest not just opportunistic escape but possibly planned navigation using remembered information about the building's layout. Recent research has revealed that octopuses may even have different sleep states, including something resembling REM sleep in mammals. During these periods, octopuses change color rapidly, cycling through their entire repertoire of patterns. If dreaming involves replaying and processing experiences during sleep, octopuses might experience something akin to dreams, though what goes on in a distributed nervous system during sleep remains mysterious. The color changes might reflect neural activity in the skin responding to signals from the brain, offering a rare window into the sleeping octopus mind. Fish, often underestimated in intelligence, demonstrate capabilities that challenge our assumptions. Long-term memory in fish extends far beyond the mythical 3-second attention span. Some species can remember specific locations for months and recall individual fish they've interacted with across extended periods. In social learning experiments, fish observing others successfully solve a problem can then solve the same problem themselves more quickly, showing that they learn from watching others. Cleaner fish, small species that remove parasites from larger fish, demonstrate particularly sophisticated social cognition. They provide cleaning services to client fish, removing parasites and dead skin. Importantly, cleaner fish adjust their behavior based on who is watching. If a potential future client is observing, cleaners provide better service to their current client, essentially engaging in reputation management. They're less likely to cheat by nipping at healthy mucus, which they prefer to parasites, when being observed by others, suggesting they understand that their current behavior affects their future opportunities. This ability to modify behavior based on who is watching requires perspective-taking and planning that belies the simple image of fish as mere reflexive creatures. Some fish species recognize themselves in mirrors. In experiments with cleaner wrasse, fish with marks placed on their bodies in locations they could only see in a mirror attempted to remove the marks by scraping against surfaces while looking at their reflection. This behavior is similar to what great apes do in mirror tests and suggests self-awareness. Understanding that the reflection is oneself rather than another fish. While debates continue about whether fish pass the mirror test in the same way mammals do, the behaviors observed certainly suggest a more sophisticated relationship to visual information than previously credited to fish. Manta rays, with brains much larger than most fish, have also demonstrated mirror self-recognition. When marked and given access to a mirror, manta rays spent more time in front of the mirror and engaged in unusual behaviors like blowing bubbles and moving in unusual patterns while watching their reflection, behaviors consistent with self-directed behavior rather than social interaction with a perceived other. The presence of self-recognition in both cleaner wrasse and manta rays, two distantly related fish lineages, raises questions about how widespread this capacity might be in the ocean. Electric fish use electric fields both to navigate and to communicate, creating an entirely different sensory world than sighted animals inhabit. Some species can recognize individual conspecifics by their unique electric signals and maintain stable social relationships based on this recognition. The cognitive challenges of navigating and communicating through electric fields have driven the evolution of relatively large brains in these species, showing that intelligence evolves in response to the specific demands of an animal's sensory world. The more scientists study aquatic intelligence, the more they realize that cognition underwater has been constrained by the difficulty of studying animals in their own element. Fish and octopuses don't have hands to manipulate objects in ways we easily recognize as problem-solving. They can't vocalize to us in frequencies we hear easily. Their sensory worlds, dominated by chemical cues and in some cases electric fields or lateral line sensitivity to water movement, differ profoundly from our visual and auditory experience. Yet when researchers design experiments appropriate to these different sensory modalities and natural behaviors, evidence of sophisticated cognition emerges repeatedly. The cognitive achievements of octopuses and fish teach us that intelligence is not tied to any particular body plan or evolutionary lineage. Complex information processing, learning, memory, and even self-awareness can emerge in nervous systems organized in radically different ways from our own. The octopus, with its distributed neural architecture, and fish, with their relatively small brains operating in the three-dimensional aquatic environment, expand our understanding of what minds can be and how they can work. They remind us that the waters of our planet hold not just biological diversity but cognitive diversity, a multitude of ways of experiencing and responding to the world that we are only beginning to appreciate. Small minds, big mysteries, insect cognition. When we imagine intelligence, we typically picture large brains in large bodies, elephants, dolphins, primates, perhaps corvids or parrots. The idea that creatures with brains smaller than a pinhead might engage in complex cognition challenges are intuitions about the relationship between brain size and mental capacity. Yet insects, with nervous systems containing perhaps 1 million neurons or fewer, demonstrate behaviors of remarkable sophistication. Their tiny brains execute navigation, learning, memory formation, decision-making, and social coordination that rivals the achievements of much larger-brained creatures. Understanding how they accomplish so much with so little reveals fundamental principles about how information processing works. Honeybees serve as the flagship species for insect cognition research, and for good reason. These small creatures, each weighing about 1/10 of a gram with a brain containing approximately 960,000 neurons, navigate territories spanning several kilometers, communicate abstract information about distant locations, recognize individual faces, understand numerical concepts, and make complex decisions about resource allocation. The density of cognitive achievement packed into such a small neural package astounds researchers and forces reconsideration of what minimal neural machinery can accomplish. The waggle dance of honeybees represents one of the most sophisticated animal communication systems outside of human language. When a forager bee discovers a rich source of nectar or pollen, she returns to the hive and performs a figure-8 dance on the vertical honeycomb. The angle of the straight run relative to vertical indicates the direction to the food source relative to the sun's current position. The duration of the waggle run encodes the distance. The longer the waggle, the farther the food. The vigor of the dance communicates the quality of the resource. Other bees follow the dancer, learning from her movements where to fly to find the flowers she discovered. What makes this dance remarkable is that it communicates abstract, symbolic information. The direction and distance are represented through movement in a completely different medium and orientation. The bee transforms her flight path through three-dimensional space into a dance on a vertical surface in the darkness of the hive. She compensates for the sun's movement across the sky during her foraging trip, updating the angle of her dance to account for the changed solar position. The bees watching the dance can extract this symbolic information and use it to locate flowers they've never seen, flying to a location they've never visited based solely on the coded instructions in the dance. This symbolic communication of abstract information was once thought to be uniquely human. Honeybee navigation itself demonstrates sophisticated spatial cognition. Foragers learn the landscape around their hive, creating mental maps of flower locations, landmarks, and routes. They can take novel shortcuts between known locations, suggesting they store configural spatial information rather than just memorizing specific routes. Bees use multiple sources of information for navigation: the sun's position, compensating for its movement throughout the day, polarized light patterns in the sky, landmarks, magnetic fields, and even infrasound. This multimodal integration allows robust navigation under varying conditions. Recent research reveals that honeybees understand abstract concepts. In experiments where bees were trained to associate certain symbols with sugar-water rewards, researchers found that bees could learn concepts like above and below, same and different, and even simple numerical concepts. Bees trained to choose the image with more elements could transfer this choose more rule to novel images they'd never seen. They can count up to at least 4 or 5 and understand the concept of 0, nothing, as a numerical quantity less than 1. These abstract conceptual abilities were previously attributed primarily to vertebrates with much larger brains. Bees also demonstrate sophisticated decision-making and evaluation. When scout bees search for new nest sites, They assess each candidate location based on multiple criteria: volume, entrance size, height above ground, and drafts that might indicate cracks. Different scouts visit different sites, return to the swarm, and perform waggle dances to advertise their findings. The quality of the site determines the vigor of the dance. Through this collective process, the swarm builds consensus about the best available location without any central coordinator making the decision. Individual bees visiting multiple sites can compare them and adjust their dancing based on relative quality. This decentralized decision-making allows the colony to reliably select superior sites even though no single bee evaluates all the options. Bumblebees add additional cognitive feats to the record. They can learn to pull strings to access nectar-filled flowers, watching other bees perform the task and then imitating them. They can even learn from artificial robotic bees, showing their learning is based on observing the action rather than requiring a real bee demonstrator. In problem-solving experiments, bumblebees learn to push a ball into a goal area to obtain a sugar reward, something completely outside their natural behavioral repertoire. Those that watched a trained demonstrator learned much faster than those exploring on their own, demonstrating clear social learning. Even more surprisingly, bumblebees exhibit something resembling play behavior. Young bees given access to small wooden balls repeatedly rolled them around without any reward or apparent purpose. The behavior was spontaneous, repeated, and seemed to be performed for its own sake, defining features of play. While play has been documented in mammals and birds, finding it in insects suggests that something about nervous systems, even very simple ones, may find certain patterns of activity intrinsically rewarding, independent of immediate survival benefits. Ants, living in colonies that can contain millions of individuals, demonstrate that collective behavior can generate solutions to complex problems that no individual solves. Ant colonies build elaborate nests with climate control, cultivate fungus gardens, wage coordinated warfare, and navigate vast territories, all without centralized control. Each ant follows simple rules based on local information, yet the colony as a whole exhibits sophisticated adaptive behavior that responds to changing conditions. Ant navigation provides particular insight into how miniature brains encode spatial information. Desert ants leaving their nests to forage must find their way back across featureless terrain with no obvious landmarks. They accomplish this through path integration, continuously tracking their direction and distance from home. As they wander in search of food, they compute a running tally of their displacement from the nest. When they find food, they can return home in a straight line despite having taken a wandering outward path. This requires keeping track of direction, using the sun and polarized light patterns, and distance, apparently by counting steps, combining these into a constantly updated vector pointing home. Recent discoveries show that individual ants can also learn and remember visual landmarks. Ants trained to navigate a maze can remember the correct route for days. They can recognize specific visual features and use them to navigate, supplementing their path integration with landmark-based navigation when visual cues are available. In the tiny brain of an ant, multiple navigation systems operate in parallel, each contributing to the robust navigation these small creatures routinely accomplish. Jumping spiders, despite lacking the social organization of bees and ants, demonstrate individual cognitive sophistication that's startling in an animal with a brain smaller than a poppy seed. These spiders, with their 8 eyes providing nearly 360-degree vision, are active hunters that stalk prey rather than building webs and waiting. They plan routes to reach prey that may not be directly visible, detouring around obstacles to approach from favorable angles. In experiments, jumping spiders shown a prey item and then having it blocked from view will navigate a complex path, including multiple turns to reach the location where they last saw the prey, demonstrating spatial memory and planning. The Portia genus of jumping spiders demonstrates particularly sophisticated behavior. These spiders prey on other spiders, including species larger than themselves. They employ different hunting tactics depending on the prey species, suggesting they recognize different spider types and select appropriate strategies. When approaching web-building spiders, Portia may pluck the web in specific patterns that mimic a struggling insect, luring the web spider within striking range. This tactical deception requires understanding cause and effect, that certain web vibrations will cause predictable behavior in the prey, and the cognitive flexibility to employ different strategies for different targets. The question of consciousness in insects remains deeply controversial. Do these tiny creatures with their miniature brains experience anything subjective? Or are they, as Descartes might have argued, simply elaborate automata responding to stimuli with no inner experience? The truth likely lies somewhere between these extremes. The behaviors of bees, ants, and jumping spiders suggest processing that goes beyond simple stimulus-response reflexes. They learn, remember, plan, and make decisions that weigh multiple factors. Whether these processes feel like anything from the inside, whether there is something it is like to be a bee, remains an open question that may be genuinely unanswerable given our current methods. Recent research on bee cognition and welfare suggests that bees may experience basic affective states. In experiments where bees received unexpected sugar rewards, they subsequently behaved more optimistically in ambiguous situations, a pattern consistent with positive emotional states in vertebrates. Bees deprived of food showed behavior patterns suggesting something like hunger or frustration. While we should be cautious about anthropomorphizing, these findings hint that even insect nervous systems may generate primitive versions of the positive and negative valence that characterizes conscious experience in larger-brained animals. What insects definitively prove is that impressive cognitive abilities, learning, memory, numerical concepts, symbolic communication, planning, problem-solving, and social coordination can emerge from neural systems far smaller than previously thought possible. A bee's brain, smaller than a grain of rice, processes information and generates adaptive behavior that allows these creatures to thrive in complex, changing environments. The neural efficiency of insect brains, packing sophisticated capabilities into microscopic volumes, represents an evolutionary achievement as impressive as the massive brains of elephants or whales. In understanding how so much can be done with so little, researchers gain insights into the fundamental principles of neural computation that transcend any particular brain size or architecture. The unexpected intelligence of simple animals, where mind begins. If insects with their million-neuron brains can navigate, learn, and make decisions, what about even simpler creatures? Where does cognition end and pure reflex begin? The boundary keeps shifting as researchers probe the capabilities of increasingly simple nervous systems. Animals that seem to possess the minimum neural equipment for survival nonetheless demonstrate behaviors suggesting information processing more sophisticated than simple stimulus response mechanisms. These findings force us to reconsider where mind begins and what minimal neural equipment can accomplish. Slime molds challenge our definitions of intelligence because they lack nervous systems entirely. These organisms exist as single cells containing many nuclei, spreading through environments as networks of protoplasm. Despite having no neurons, no brain, no synapses, none of the standard equipment we associate with intelligence, slime molds demonstrate problem-solving abilities that seem impossible without a nervous system. In laboratory experiments, the slime mold Physarum polycephalum can solve maze puzzles. When placed at one end of a maze with food at the other end, the slime mold initially spreads throughout the available space. But over time, it withdraws from dead ends and maintains connections only along the shortest path between food sources. The final network represents an efficient solution to finding the optimal route through the maze. Researchers have used slime molds to model efficient transport networks, finding that the patterns they generate closely match human design systems like the Tokyo Rail network. Slime molds also demonstrate primitive memory and learning despite lacking neurons. When exposed to regular pulses of unfavorable conditions, cold temperatures or dry air, slime molds initially respond by slowing their growth. But after several pulses at regular intervals, they begin to slow their growth in anticipation of the next pulse, even when it doesn't come. They have somehow learned the temporal pattern and adjusted their behavior accordingly. The cellular mechanisms underlying this memory remain mysterious but clearly involve some form of information storage and retrieval at the level of cellular biochemistry. How can an organism without a nervous system exhibit behaviors that look like learning, memory, and problem-solving? The answer appears to lie in the sophisticated information processing capabilities of the cellular cytoplasm itself. The network of protein filaments, chemical gradients, and feedback loops within a cell can store information and generate complex dynamic behavior. In a sense, the entire organism serves as a distributed computing network, with different regions of protoplasm communicating through chemical signals and mechanical forces. The slime mold represents a fundamentally different solution to the problem of adaptive behavior, one that doesn't require neurons at all. Jellyfish present another puzzle for understanding the origins of cognition. These animals have nervous systems but lack centralized brains. Their nerve nets, distributed throughout the bell and tentacles, detect stimuli and coordinate basic movements, but there's no obvious center of processing where information integrates and decisions occur. Yet, jellyfish demonstrate learning abilities that suggest information processing beyond simple reflexes. Caribbean box jellyfish have 24 eyes arranged in 4 clusters. These eyes provide genuine image-forming vision, unusual in jellyfish. The animals use visual information to navigate through mangrove roots, avoiding obstacles as they swim. They can learn to navigate complex environments more efficiently with experience, suggesting visual memory and spatial learning. Without a centralized brain, the mechanisms underlying this learning remain unclear, but the behavior demonstrates that cognitive abilities can emerge from distributed nervous systems. Recent experiments showed that Caribbean box jellyfish could learn to associate visual cues with obstacles. Jellyfish swimming in a round tank with contrasting gray and white stripes initially bumped into the walls. But within minutes, they learned to avoid the walls more successfully, increasing their distance from the stripes that predicted collision. This associative learning, linking a visual pattern with an undesirable outcome and adjusting behavior accordingly, occurred in an animal with no brain, showing that learning doesn't require centralized neural processing. Nematode worms, with nervous systems containing just 302 neurons in the case of C. elegans, nonetheless demonstrate learning, decision-making, and even primitive forms of attention. These microscopic worms can learn to associate odors with food or danger, modifying their behavior based on experience. They make decisions about whether to explore new areas or remain in familiar territories based on food availability and recent experiences. Despite having fewer neurons than a bee has in a single brain region, nematode worms generate adaptive behaviors suggesting genuine information processing rather than hardwired responses. The C. elegans nervous system has been completely mapped at the level of individual neurons and their connections, making it the only organism for which we have a complete connectome. Yet, even with this complete wiring diagram, researchers cannot predict behavior purely from anatomy. The same circuit generates different behaviors depending on the animal's recent history and current state, demonstrating that understanding cognition requires more than just mapping neural connections. Even in this simplest nervous system, dynamics and context matter as much as structure. Planarian flatworms demonstrate surprisingly sophisticated learning and memory. These small worms can be trained to navigate mazes, and they remember the correct path across multiple trials. Most remarkably, when planarians are cut in half, both halves regenerate into complete worms. The head fragment, retaining the original brain, remembers its training. But more surprisingly, the tail fragment, which must regenerate an entirely new brain, also retains some memory of the training, learning the maze faster than naive worms. The mechanisms behind this somatic memory stored somehow in non-neural tissue and transferred to the regenerated brain, remain mysterious but suggest that information storage in simple organisms may occur throughout the body, not just in nervous tissue. Sea slugs, particularly the species Aplysia used extensively in neuroscience research, have taught us fundamental principles about how learning and memory work at the cellular level. With only about 20,000 neurons, many of them individually identifiable and accessible for study, Aplysia became the model system where researchers first worked out the molecular mechanisms of memory formation. These slugs can learn to withdraw their gills more strongly in response to touch after experiencing noxious stimuli, demonstrating a simple form of learning called sensitization. This learning involves changes in the strength of synapses between specific neurons, molecular changes that have proved remarkably conserved across species. The mechanisms of memory first discovered in sea slugs turn out to operate similarly in mammals, including humans. Even single-celled organisms demonstrate behaviors that complicate simple definitions of intelligence. Paramecia, single-celled protozoans covered in hair-like cilia, can learn to avoid areas where they've received electrical shocks. They modify their swimming behavior based on experience, showing a primitive form of associative learning despite having no neurons. The mechanisms involve changes in membrane potentials and calcium concentrations within the cell, creating a form of cellular memory that guides future behavior. Bacteria, the simplest free-living organisms, demonstrate rudimentary information processing and memory. Individual bacteria can sense chemical gradients and move toward attractants or away from repellents. They compare current conditions to conditions in the recent past, swimming straight when things are improving and tumbling to change direction when conditions worsen. This represents a form of memory and comparison, albeit one implemented through molecular mechanisms rather than neural circuits. Bacterial populations also exhibit collective behaviors, forming biofilms, quorum sensing, and coordinating gene expression that suggest information processing at the level of communities. Where does all this leave us in understanding the origins and nature of cognition? The lesson from studying simple animals seems to be that intelligence exists along a continuum without clear boundaries. Even systems we wouldn't consider truly cognitive, slime molds, bacteria, perhaps even individual cells, process information, store memories, and generate adaptive behaviors. As nervous systems evolved and expanded, they enhanced these capabilities, but the fundamental capacity to respond adaptively to environments appears to be a property of living systems at all scales. This perspective suggests that consciousness and cognition may be matters of degree rather than kind. Perhaps even the simplest organisms experience some minimal form of what philosophers call qualia, the subjective qualities of experience. Or perhaps consciousness only emerges above some threshold of neural complexity, though where that threshold lies remains unknown. What's clear is that the behaviors we associate with mind, learning, memory, decision-making, problem-solving, can be implemented in systems far simpler than we once imagined, and the border between mindless mechanism and genuine cognition is far blurrier than traditional views suggested. Animal communication and language, voices of the voiceless. Communication forms the foundation of social life across the animal kingdom. From the chemical signals of ants to the songs of whales, animals have evolved myriad ways to send and receive information. Some of these communication systems approach the complexity and sophistication of human language, though whether any truly qualify as language in the linguistic sense remains debated. Examining how animals communicate reveals both remarkable similarities and profound differences from human language, teaching us about the evolutionary origins of our own communication abilities. Whale songs represent perhaps the most hauntingly beautiful and complex non-human communication system. Humpback whales, in particular, produce elaborate songs that can last 20 minutes and be heard across vast ocean distances. All males in a population sing essentially the same song, but this song changes gradually over time, with new phrases being added and old ones dropping out. Within a breeding season, all males in an area converge on singing the same evolving song, demonstrating cultural transmission of vocal patterns. The function of humpback whale song remains partially mysterious, though it seems related to mating. Only males sing, and they sing primarily during breeding season. But the songs are far more complex than simple mating calls. They have hierarchical structure, with sounds organized into phrases, phrases into themes, and themes into songs. Whales repeat their songs in sessions lasting hours, swimming slowly or hanging nearly motionless in the water while singing. The acoustic complexity and cultural evolution of these songs suggest functions beyond simple attraction, perhaps including establishing dominance, coordinating group movements, or even aesthetic functions we cannot yet understand. Other whale species demonstrate different vocal complexities. Orcas live in matrilineal family groups called pods, and each pod has its own dialect, specific calls used by that pod and no other. These dialects are learned from mothers and remain stable across generations, representing cultural traditions passed down through the matriline. Orcas from different pods can recognize each other's dialects, and they call more when encountering unfamiliar dialects, suggesting the vocalizations serve social functions in identifying group membership. The existence of stable vocal dialects passed through cultural learning rather than genetic inheritance parallels human language diversity and acquisition. On land, prairie dogs possess one of the most sophisticated alarm call systems documented in animals. Research by Konslobodchikov revealed that prairie dog alarm calls encode specific information about predators in ways that meet some linguistic criteria for compositional meaning. Prairie dogs give different calls for different predator types: hawks, coyotes, dogs, humans, allowing listeners to respond appropriately to threats they haven't seen themselves. But the calls encode more than just predator category. When researchers walked through prairie dog colonies wearing different colored shirts, the prairie dogs gave slightly different calls for each color. When a novel object, like an oval plywood cutout, was pulled through the colony, prairie dogs gave alarm calls that differed from their standard predator calls, apparently describing the unusual shape. Analysis of the calls revealed that they contain information about predator size, color, and speed of approach. A small dog moving quickly elicits a different call than a large dog moving slowly. This referential specificity, calls that describe particular features of objects in the environment, represents a key property of human language words. Whether prairie dog calls constitute true language remains controversial. The calls appear largely innate rather than learned, lack the open-ended generativity of human language, and may not be intentionally communicative in the way human speech is. But they demonstrate that animal vocalizations can encode complex, compositional information about the environment, information that other animals can extract and use to guide their behavior. The line between complex alarm calls and simple words may be fuzzier than traditionally thought. Bats, which navigate and hunt using echolocation, have evolved complex vocal communication that extends beyond their sonar calls. Greater spear-nosed bats produce distinctive vocalizations when defending food resources, attracting mates, or arguing over sleeping spots. Mother bats and pups learn to recognize each other's voices individually among the thousands of bats in a colony, allowing mothers to find and feed their own young in the chaos of the roost. Some species show evidence of vocal learning, with pups learning their dialect from adults in the colony rather than producing their vocalizations purely instinctively. Recent research on Egyptian fruit bats revealed that their social vocalizations, which sound like chattering squabbles to human ears, actually contain specific information. By analyzing thousands of calls while recording video of the bats, researchers found that bats directing vocalizations at specific individuals adjust the acoustic structure of their calls depending on context. A bat arguing about sleeping position uses different vocalizations than one competing for food, and listeners respond differently to these different call types. The bats appear to have a repertoire of meaningful calls used in specific social contexts, showing that vocal communication in bats involves more than random squeaking. Birds sing for many reasons: establishing territories, attracting mates, maintaining pair bonds, and coordinating group movements. Some species have relatively simple, stereotyped songs that appear largely innate. But songbirds, which include about half of all bird species, learn their songs from adults during a critical period in development, similar to how human children learn language. A young songbird raised in isolation develops abnormal song, while one raised hearing normal adults learns typical songs. This vocal learning, where animals modify their vocalizations based on experience, is rare among animals, found in songbirds, parrots, hummingbirds, bats, cetaceans, elephants, and humans. A surprisingly short list. The songs of some bird species demonstrate startling complexity. Nightingales may have repertoires of over 200 different song types. Brown thrashers may learn over 2,000 distinct song types. Some species engage in vocal duets, where mated pairs coordinate their singing so precisely that the two birds sound like one, with one bird's phrases fitting into the gaps in the other's song. These duets strengthen pair bonds and defend territories, with the quality of coordination advertising the strength of the partnership to potential rivals. Mockingbirds and lyrebirds demonstrate even more extreme vocal abilities, imitating sounds from their environment with remarkable accuracy. Mockingbirds can learn and reproduce the songs of dozens of other bird species. Lyrebirds in Australian forests imitate chainsaws, car alarms, camera shutters, and other human-made sounds with such fidelity that recordings of lyrebirds are mistaken for the actual sounds. This vocal mimicry demonstrates exceptional auditory memory and motor control, as the bird must remember the sound and then precisely adjust its vocal apparatus to reproduce it. Chemical communication, though less familiar to humans, represents the primary communication channel for many animals. Ants communicate largely through pheromones, chemical signals that convey information about trails to food, danger, identity, and reproductive status. Different pheromones trigger different responses. A forager finding food lays a chemical trail back to the nest, and other ants follow this trail to the food source. When danger threatens, ants release alarm pheromones that cause nearby ants to become agitated and aggressive. Queen ants emit pheromones that suppress reproduction in workers, maintaining the colony's social structure. The complexity of chemical communication becomes apparent in species like leafcutter ants, which maintain sophisticated fungus gardens. These ants use different pheromones to mark trails to different resources, recruit workers to new food discoveries of varying quality, and signal the health status of the fungus garden. The chemical language of ants, though invisible to us, encodes rich information that coordinates the activities of millions of individuals without central control. Moths and other insects use pheromones for mate attraction across remarkable distances. Male moths can detect a single molecule of female pheromone and orient their flight toward the source from hundreds of meters away. The specificity of these pheromones, with each species producing and responding to its own unique chemical signature, allows reproductive isolation even when multiple species inhabit the same area. The molecular structure of the pheromone serves as a species-identifying signal ensuring moths mate with the appropriate partners. Electrical communication exists in some fish species that generate electric fields. Weakly electric fish pulse or wave their electric organs, creating fields that they sense with electroreceptors. These fields serve multiple functions: navigation, prey detection, and communication. Each species has a characteristic electric organ discharge frequency and pattern, allowing species recognition. Individual fish within a species vary subtly in their discharge characteristics, potentially allowing individual recognition. During courtship and aggression, electric fish modulate their discharges in complex ways, creating electrical conversations invisible to non-electric animals, but rich with information for those who can sense them. The diversity of animal communication systems reveals that information exchange has evolved to exploit whatever sensory channels a species possesses. Visual displays, acoustic signals, chemical messages, electrical fields, even seismic vibrations transmitted through the ground. Each modality has been shaped by evolution into communication systems of varying complexity. While none fully match the open-ended creativity and infinite generativity of human language, many approach or exceed human communication in specialized domains. The chemical vocabulary of ants, the acoustic precision of whale songs, the compositional alarm calls of prairie dogs, each represents an evolutionary solution to the problem of coordination and cooperation, reminding us that communication takes many forms across the living world. Tool use and innovation across species, the hands of the mind. For much of human history, tool use was considered the defining feature of humanity. Man the toolmaker went the phrase, suggesting that our ability to fashion and use implements separated us from all other creatures. This view has been thoroughly demolished by decades of research revealing tool use across diverse animal species. From primates crafting spears to dolphins wearing sponges to crows bending wires, animals demonstrate that tools extend the reach of minds across the animal kingdom. Chimpanzees have the most extensive tool-using repertoire of any non-human animal. Different chimpanzee populations use different sets of tools, passed culturally from generation to generation, creating regional traditions analogous to human cultures. In the Thai forest of Côte d'Ivoire, chimpanzees use stone hammers and anvils to crack nuts, a behavior absent in East African chimpanzee populations. Mothers teach their offspring this skill over years, with young chimps taking years to master the precise strikes needed to crack nuts without pulverizing them. Some chimpanzee populations fashion spears from branches, stripping the side branches and sharpening the tip before jabbing them into tree hollows to hunt bush babies. This represents not just tool use but tool manufacture, modifying natural objects to create implements specifically for a planned future use. The behavior requires foresight, anticipating the need for the tool, planning, modifying materials before they're needed, and understanding of the tool's function, knowing how a sharp stick will enable access to otherwise unreachable prey. Chimpanzees at GOM, studied by Jane Goodall since the 1960s, modify twigs to fish for termites, selecting branches of appropriate length and flexibility, stripping off leaves, and sometimes sharpening the end with their teeth. They carry these fishing tools to termite mounds, insert them into holes, wait for termites to bite onto the twig, then withdraw it and eat the termites. Different termite mounds require different techniques, and experienced chimps adjust their tools and methods based on the characteristics of the specific mound they're fishing. This flexible adjustment of technique shows understanding rather than mere rote behavior. Orangutans use tools less frequently than chimpanzees but demonstrate comparable sophistication when they do. Wild orangutans in some populations use stick tools to extract seeds from hard-husked fruits and insects from tree holes. They also manufacture leaf gloves to handle spiny fruits and use branches as protective hats during rain. In captivity, orangutans have shown remarkable tool innovation, figuring out how to use hooks, making keys to unlock locks, and even using tools in multi-step sequences to solve novel problems they've never encountered before. Capuchin monkeys in Brazil's Serra da Capivara National Park use stone tools to crack open cashew nuts and other hard-shelled foods. Archaeological excavations at Capuchin tool sites reveal that this behavior has been passed down for at least 700 years, with stone anvils showing where patterns from centuries of use. The longevity of this tradition rivals some early human tool-using cultures, demonstrating that tool traditions can persist across hundreds of generations in non-human primates. What makes primate tool use particularly significant is its variation across populations. Chimpanzees in one forest use completely different tool sets than chimps in another forest, not because of environmental differences but because of cultural traditions. These geographic patterns of behavior, present in some populations, absent in others, transmitted socially rather than genetically, meet the definition of culture. Non-human animals have culture, accumulated knowledge passed socially across generations, and tools represent some of the most visible manifestations of these cultural traditions. Among birds, New Caledonian crows stand out for their sophisticated tool manufacture. As mentioned earlier, these crows craft multiple types of tools from different materials, modify them for specific purposes, and use them in sequence to solve multi-step problems. They select tools based on the problem at hand, showing understanding of the relationship between tool properties and task demands. Young crows learn tool-making from adults but also innovate, occasionally discovering new techniques that then spread through the population. Recent experiments revealed that New Caledonian crows possess causal reasoning about tool use. When presented with a puzzle requiring tools of specific sizes, crows selected appropriately sized tools without trial and error, suggesting mental representation of the problem and solution. They could also solve problems requiring understanding of water displacement, dropping stones into a tube to raise the water level and float food into reach, demonstrating grasp of physical causation that rivals understanding shown by young human children. Other corvids also use tools, though less systematically than New Caledonian crows. Wild ravens have been observed using sticks to reach food, and captive crows regularly innovate tool solutions to novel problems. The capacity for tool use appears widespread in corvids, perhaps enabled by their generally high intelligence and behavioral flexibility. Dolphins, lacking hands or feet to manipulate objects, nonetheless employ tools in ingenious ways. Bottlenose dolphins in Shark Bay, Australia, break off marine sponges and wear them over their rostra beaks while foraging on the seafloor. The sponges protect their sensitive skin from abrasion and stinging organisms while they probe the sand for buried fish. This tool use is passed from mothers to offspring, particularly daughters, creating a matrilineal tradition that has persisted for generations. The sponging behavior requires significant investment of time and energy. Dolphins must learn where to find suitable sponges, how to detach them, and how to carry them properly while foraging. But sponge-using dolphins gain access to fish species non-users cannot efficiently catch, giving them a dietary niche others cannot exploit. The behavior demonstrates that tools can create new ecological opportunities even in animals without hands to manipulate objects. Sea otters use rocks as anvils to crack open shellfish, one of the few examples of tool use in marine mammals besides dolphins and whales. Otters dive to the seafloor to collect both prey and a suitable rock, bring both to the surface, float on their backs, place the rock on their chest, and repeatedly smash the shellfish against it until it breaks open. Some otters appear to have favorite rocks that they keep with them across multiple dives, suggesting individual tool preferences or perhaps sentimental attachment to particular stones. Among invertebrates, octopuses sometimes use tools, carrying coconut shells or clam shells to construct portable shelters. As mentioned earlier, coconut octopuses collect half coconut shells, stack them, and carry them awkwardly across the seafloor before reassembling them into protective shelters. This behavior represents one of the few documented cases of tool use in invertebrates and demonstrates that tool use is not limited to vertebrates or animals with skeletons. Veined octopuses have also been observed collecting shells, rocks, and even glass bottles, arranging them around their lairs as protective barriers. While some researchers debate whether this constitutes true tool use or simply construction behavior, the flexible and context-dependent nature of the behavior, octopuses selecting materials and arranging them differently depending on local conditions, suggests purposeful use of objects to solve problems. Elephants occasionally use tools, employing branches as fly swatters, using sticks to scratch hard-to-reach places, and throwing objects at threats. In one documented case, an elephant attempting to reach food beyond an electric fence used a log to disable the fence before crossing. This problem-solving use of an object to overcome an obstacle demonstrates understanding of cause and effect and creative application of available materials to novel problems. The widespread distribution of tool use across distantly related lineages, primates, corvids, parrots, dolphins, elephants, sea otters, octopuses, demonstrates that this behavior evolves repeatedly when animals combine sufficient intelligence with appropriate anatomy and environmental pressures. Tools extend the physical capabilities of animals, allowing them to access resources otherwise unavailable and solve problems that bodies alone cannot overcome. The mind devises solutions that the body implements through tools, and the diversity of tool-using species reveals that this connection between mind and material culture is not uniquely human but emerges wherever cognition reaches sufficient sophistication to imagine solutions beyond the body's immediate capabilities. Sleep, dreams, and animal consciousness. Resting minds. As you drift towards sleep yourself, consider the sleep of other creatures. Sleep appears nearly universal among animals with nervous systems, suggesting it serves fundamental biological functions. But sleep is not uniform across species. Different animals sleep in different ways, for different durations, and perhaps with different subjective experiences. Exploring how animals sleep and whether they dream offers insights into consciousness itself and provides a peaceful way to end our journey through animal minds. The amount of sleep animals need varies dramatically across species. Brown bats sleep 19 hours per day, barely waking except to forage during the brief twilight periods when insects are most active. Giraffes, by contrast, sleep only about 4.5 hours per day in short naps scattered throughout day and night. Elephants sleep even less. Wild African elephants sleep just 2 hours per day on average, making them the lightest sleeping mammals yet documented. They may go days without sleeping at all during migrations or when disturbed by threats. What determines how much sleep an animal needs? Multiple factors appear to play roles. Smaller animals with higher metabolic rates tend to sleep more than larger animals. Prey species that face constant predator threats often sleep less than predators, who can afford longer periods of vulnerability. Animals must also balance sleep against other needs. Elephants spend so much time eating the massive quantities of vegetation required to maintain their bulk that sleep becomes a luxury they can only briefly afford. Most mammals and birds experience two distinct types of sleep that can be distinguished by brain activity patterns. Slow-wave sleep, characterized by synchronized neural firing that produces large, slow oscillations in brain electrical activity, appears to serve restorative functions for the body and brain. During slow-wave sleep, the body repairs tissues, consolidates memories, and clears metabolic waste products from the brain. Animals deprived of slow-wave sleep show impaired immune function, reduced cognitive performance, and eventually severe health consequences. Rapid eye movement sleep, or REM sleep, presents a very different physiological state. During REM, brain activity increases dramatically, approaching levels seen during wakefulness. The eyes move rapidly beneath closed lids, hence the name. Most large muscles become temporarily paralyzed, preventing the sleeping animal from acting out whatever mental experiences might be occurring. Heart rate and breathing become irregular. In humans, REM sleep is when the most vivid dreaming occurs, leading to the natural question: do animals also dream during REM sleep? Research on rats by Matthew Wilson at MIT provided some of the most compelling evidence that animals might dream. Wilson and his colleagues recorded the activity of neurons in the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory, while rats ran through mazes. Each location in the maze activated a specific pattern of neurons. Later, when the rats entered REM sleep, those same neurons fired in the same sequential patterns observed during maze running. The sleeping rats' brains were replaying their waking experiences. The patterns were so precise that researchers could determine which part of the maze the rat was dreaming about based solely on which neurons were firing. Similar replay has been documented in other species. Birds learning new songs show neural replay of the song during sleep. Zebrafish sleep shows neural patterns suggesting memory consolidation. The replay phenomenon appears to serve memory functions. Experiences are rehearsed during sleep, strengthening the neural connections that encode them. This process may explain why sleep after learning improves performance, a phenomenon observed in humans and animals alike. But does neural replay constitute actual dreaming, subjective experiences with sensory qualities and narrative structure? We cannot know for certain without being able to ask animals about their inner experiences. However, the behavioral evidence suggests something resembling dreams occurs. Dogs and cats often twitch, move their paws as if running, and vocalize during REM sleep, behaviors consistent with acting out dream scenarios. The muscle paralysis that normally accompanies REM prevents full enactment, but small movements escape, perhaps offering glimpses of dream content. More dramatically, animals with damaged brainstem regions that normally induce REM muscle paralysis will fully act out their dreams. Cats with such lesions will stalk, pounce, and swat at invisible prey during REM episodes, suggesting their dreams involve typical waking behaviors. The specificity of these actions, crouching in hunting posture, oriented toward particular locations as if tracking moving prey, implies structured mental experiences, not random neural noise. The presence of REM sleep across mammals and birds suggests it serves important functions that evolved hundreds of millions of years ago in the common ancestors of these groups. Recently, researchers have discovered REM-like sleep states in animals far beyond mammals and birds. Cuttlefish and octopuses display sleep periods characterized by rapid eye movements, arm twitching, and dramatic color changes cycling through their full repertoire of patterns. Since the cephalopod brain directly controls skin pigmentation, these color changes during sleep may offer a visible window into their dream content. If cuttlefish experience something like dreams, it suggests consciousness and subjective experience emerged independently multiple times in evolution. Even jumping spiders may have REM-like sleep. These tiny arachnids hang by silk threads overnight, and during sleep, their retinas, visible through their translucent exoskeletons, shift back and forth in patterns resembling rapid eye movements. Their legs curl and relax periodically. Whether spiders with brains smaller than poppy seeds experience anything we'd recognize as dreams remains unknown, but the presence of REM-like states in creatures so distantly related to mammals challenges assumptions about the neural prerequisites for complex sleep stages. Not all animals sleep conventionally. Marine mammals face a unique challenge. They must surface regularly to breathe, making complete unconsciousness dangerous. Dolphins, whales, and seals solve this problem through unihemispheric sleep, where one brain hemisphere sleeps while the other remains awake. The hemispheres alternate, ensuring both get rest while the animal continues swimming and surfacing to breathe. During unihemispheric sleep, one eye stays open, monitoring the environment, while the other closes. Unihemispheric sleep raises fascinating questions about consciousness. If only half your brain is asleep, are you half conscious? Do you dream in one hemisphere while navigating with the other? The neural independence required for each hemisphere to maintain different states of consciousness challenges our intuitions about unified minds. Dolphins appear to be simultaneously awake and asleep, experiencing what might be two different states of consciousness simultaneously. Birds also employ unihemispheric sleep, particularly when roosting in vulnerable locations. Ducks sleeping in a row show a fascinating pattern. Those on the ends, most exposed to potential predators, keep one eye open and one hemisphere awake. Birds in the protected middle of the group sleep with both hemispheres. The exposed birds periodically switch which hemisphere is awake, ensuring both sides get rest. This flexible sleep allows birds to balance rest needs against predator vigilance, sleeping deeply when safe but maintaining alertness when threatened. Some animals display unusual sleep patterns that defy easy categorization. Bearded dragons show brain activity during sleep that resembles mammalian REM patterns, despite their reptilian lineage. Zebrafish cycle through different sleep states with distinct neural signatures. Fruit flies need sleep and suffer cognitive impairments when deprived of it, despite having nervous systems vastly simpler than vertebrates. The universality of sleep across animals with nervous systems suggests it serves fundamental functions that transcend specific brain architectures. The functions of sleep remain partly mysterious even after decades of research. Memory consolidation clearly occurs during sleep, with experiences replayed and encoded more permanently. Sleep may also clear metabolic waste products from the brain that accumulate during waking. It appears to support immune function, with sleep-deprived animals showing increased infection rates. Sleep may provide an opportunity for synaptic homeostasis, strengthening important connections while weakening less relevant ones, preventing neural circuits from becoming saturated. But why does sleep require unconsciousness? Why couldn't these maintenance functions occur while awake? One possibility is that the offline state allows neural reorganization that would interfere with waking function. Memory consolidation may require the brain to be free from new incoming sensory information that would compete with the memories being processed. Synaptic reweighting might create temporary states incompatible with coherent perception and behavior. Sleep may be the price brains pay for the flexibility of learning, a period of vulnerability necessary for the adaptive changes that make waking life successful. Dreams, if animals indeed experience them, may serve additional functions beyond memory consolidation. Simulating scenarios during sleep might allow practice of survival skills in a risk-free environment. A lion dreaming of a hunt can refine its stalking strategies without danger or energy expenditure. Dreams might help integrate memories, finding patterns across disparate experiences that weren't obvious when they occurred separately. The bizarre, creative nature of dreams, mixing memories and experiences in novel combinations, might facilitate problem-solving by breaking rigid associations and allowing new connections to form. Alternatively, dreams might be mere epiphenomena, byproducts of memory consolidation without adaptive function themselves. The brain replays memories during sleep for consolidation, and consciousness happens to be sufficiently preserved during this process to create subjective experiences we call dreams. Under this view, dream content is noise, not signal, the side effect of important underlying processes rather than itself serving crucial functions. The question of animal consciousness during sleep touches on the deepest mysteries of mind. Consciousness requires a subject of experience, an I that perceives and feels. During deep sleep, this sense of self may dissolve, only to reconstitute in REM dreams. The cycling between conscious and unconscious states each night demonstrates that consciousness is not an all-or-nothing property but a dynamic process that can be dialed up or down. If consciousness exists along a continuum, then perhaps some animals experience dim, simple forms of awareness during sleep while others, particularly mammals and birds with extensive REM sleep, may have experiences as rich and vivid as our own dreams. As you yourself now drift deeper into sleep, consider your place in this vast community of sleeping minds. All around the world, animals are sleeping in their own ways. Dolphins swim with half their brains resting. Birds roost with one eye open. Octopuses flash through color changes in their dreams. Elephants take brief naps standing in the African night. Bats hang upside down through the day, their tiny brains cycling through countless REM episodes. Dogs curl up in their beds, paws twitching as they chase dream rabbits. You are not alone in this nightly journey into unconsciousness. Sleep connects you to the deep evolutionary history of nervous systems and minds. The same neural mechanisms that consolidate your memories also consolidate memories in rats, birds, and perhaps even octopuses. The REM state that generates your dreams may be generating something like dreams in countless other species. Your consciousness dims and flickers and reconstitutes through the night just as theirs does. Let this knowledge bring comfort as sleep takes you. Your mind, as it drifts and dreams, participates in something ancient and universal. Something that has been happening every night for hundreds of millions of years across countless species. The thoughts that flicker through your sleeping brain connect you to the sleeping minds of animals around the planet, each processing their day's experiences, each cycling through consciousness and its absence. Sleep well, knowing you are part of this vast, ancient pattern. Let your own dreams come as they will. They are your mind's way of being an animal, of doing what nervous systems have done since sleep evolved in the depths of time. Your dreams tonight join the dreams of all sleeping creatures, a nightly chorus of minds processing, integrating, imagining. Rest now in the company of all these minds. The elephant drowsing for her brief hour of sleep. The dolphin swimming through the night with half its consciousness dissolved. The octopus changing colors in its underwater den. The crow perched in darkness, neural patterns firing in sleep as they did during the day's flight. All these minds rest as you rest, dream as perhaps you dream, and tomorrow wake to another day of experiencing this strange, beautiful phenomenon of consciousness. If you enjoyed learning about the peaceful, thoughtful, surprisingly tender ways that animals experience their minds, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Deep Science Sleep for more relaxing journeys through science. Until next time, sleep well, dream peacefully, and remember that you share this world with countless other minds, each experiencing existence in its own remarkable way. Sweet dreams.